I had the concept for this show to do a group show with a focus on landscape, or the modern interpretation of landscape, about a year and a half ago, and I had to wait till I could find and make sure I had 5 artists, because I wanted 5 artists. And then I approached Allison from the Dale's Gallery and said, can I have the 5th of May, because I got thinking about 5 artists and it could be the 5th of May. And then I decided that each artist would paint 5 paintings. So I had hoped that we would have met more often, but we talked lots back and forth since January, so it's been 5 months, about what we were doing, and I met some of them for coffee, and then I gave each of the artists, I included myself in this, I gave them each a 24 by 30 inch panel board, so that first wall, as you came into the gallery, they'd all be the same size, and there would be all landscapes in that, and just to give it a little bit of continuity. And then everybody just painted what they wanted to paint. There was no restriction. It could be a landscape of your mind if you wanted it to be. And most people, most of the artists did something that was kind of different for them. Wilson-Hoey went and did his series called Algonquin, and Glenn did prairie scenes, because he had just had all these photographs from driving back to Saskatchewan when he got married in last August. So it all kind of fit, and Michelle, all her work is fresh work and just landscape for her. And then I asked Lisa Rose, and she doesn't necessarily do real landscapes usually, but she found this a great challenge and enjoyed it. So the 5 of us, it was Glenn and Tim and Irma and Lisa, and we just all, and Michelle, just all started painting, and it's great. It's a good show in my looking at it and feeling for it, and they're all friends and we get along well, so that was very instrumental in putting a show together.
When Irma first asked me about this, to be part of this show, the first thing that I thought of was these 300 plus photographs that my wife and I took when we drove down to Saskatchewan to get married. And looking through all these photographs and images, there was only one thing in my mind. It's like trying to capture that awe and the rawness of the big sky, the landscape, the prairie landscape and the feeling that you get from it. But as a minimal artist, at first I thought it'd be an easy thing to do. But it's actually one of the most difficult things to do when you're trying to incorporate that feeling. Like there's a cloud in the horizon, there's how the grass moves when the wind's blowing it. How do you do that as a minimal artist? Well, you paint it the way you feel it. And it was just trying to capture moments in that photograph and the feelings in that photograph and the awe when you look at the big sky of the prairies. And sometimes just the basic feels and the nothingness of it.
asked us to be involved with this show. She wanted 5 artists in total on the 5th day of the 5th month, 5 pieces each, and it all had to do with the landscape, and it had to be a personal interpretation of it. So it was kind of nice because that's how I paint. It's not always exactly landscape-ish, but I think that your landscape is your background experiences, and that's going to come out in the painting no matter what it is. So, and the shapes and the objects are whatever you want them to be. So in many ways, those experiences are shown in the paintings. And the 5 that I did here, they're all very personal because that's just how I paint. And they're about memories. They're sometimes very geographical memories when I was growing up as a kid, or they're very recent memories, but they all refer to my own self and how I relate to the world. And actually, in many ways, one of the reasons why I paint is so I can actually understand my external world. No different than a physicist would, but trying to color codes different, minerals in the whole periodical table. He's trying to understand and put a language to his external world. That's exactly what I'm doing as well. It's just in color and in paint. So my personal landscape here, for this one's called Talking to the Sky. This was done just after my brother died, about 4 months after my brother died, and it's called Talking to the Sky, and it's about talking to him. So here you can see I've got a ball thrown up, and when you go through an experience like that, you sort of toss ideas out there and you hope that they come back. So that's basically, there's a lot more going on in there, but that's kind of like what that one was involved in. So each painting was a specific sort of idea, but it didn't always start off like that. Sometimes I would start painting and I didn't know where it was going. And one of the things that I do, my process, is to write at the same time as paint. So I'll take a break and I'll write and I'll look at it. And what that does is it clarifies my head, clarifies my thoughts and where the painting is going. So if you think of it like a big tornado, I start off and I'm not really sure where the painting is going. I'm trying to figure it out. And when I write, I swirl around in that tornado. That's all those ideas going on. And as I write, it clarifies the ideas, and slowly that funnel cloud gets smaller until it comes to a point, and then it's done. And then I understand what it was I was trying to say. So the writing is absolutely paramount to me when I paint. I don't think I could do it without it. And I use my computer, but I've often, when I'm traveling, I just write on paper. And I actually was going to have some blurbs written up for each painting, but I ran out of time. But each painting is very, very personal, and it's a really good way of working things out.